guys, welcome to Refined Savage. This week on the show we have Anthony Furhman from Erie, PA. Anthony is a pro strongman, a soldier, an Army recruiter, and he is on the brand new NBC show, The Titan Games with The Rock. So this was a great conversation. We went in depth on strongman and training in general. So check it out. Thanks, guys. Mr. Furhman, thanks for coming on the show, man.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, this is kind of my old stomping grounds. I'm from Erie, was born here until fourth grade. So it's nice to be back in Erie. And when we scheduled this, I thought it was going to be about a 50-50 chance we're going to be able to go through it with the weather we get out here.
You're right.
Yeah. I don't know what gets. I don't think there's a place on the planet that gets more snow than Erie Buffalo corridor.
No, I think it's like this whole region from from Buffalo to Cleveland, that whole corridor.
Yeah.
Just it seems like it's dumped on.
Yeah, we get. So I'm on the west side of Cleveland, but if you drive 20 miles east, that's where it starts. So we could have like no snow at all. You drive 20 miles east, and it's just, and then nothing gets it worse than Erie.
No, I mean it's a good and bad thing because growing up, you get Christmas.
Right.
You wake up, it's a white Christmas, exactly like the movies. Then you move out of Erie, and it never feels like Christmas anywhere else.
I remember my father telling me, it was like one of the worst memories of my childhood, being like 6 years old and just telling me on Christmas morning, we're not going to be able to do Christmas today. We can't get to your Aunt Judy's, because it was brutal,
I remember that the holiday parties, they'd be scheduled and you just don't do them because you ain't leaving the house.
Right, yeah, there's nothing you could do. Where are you living now?
Right now I'm in Tampa.
Oh,
so,
nice.
Yeah, it's the opposite
right.
of Erie.
That's like that's about the best place. My wife and I go down there all the time. We go down in Tampa, Clearwater.
It's very nice. It's a very nice area.
Yeah.
I was very lucky to be able to work there.
And you're still active duty down there with the Army?
Yep, I'm a recruiter.
Okay, so what's that like? I mean, are you going into high schools?
Yeah, I mean, we engage with the population, engage with the general populace, go to high schools, and just the misconception is like I'm selling the Army.
Right.
Right, but I'm not, because the Army doesn't need sold. It's the United States Army.
Right.
What it needs is people need to know about it. Because it's there's a lot of different situations in life that could lead people to choosing the Army as their go-to, their first choice, or just something they like doing. So
yeah.
I'm not out there, nickel and dime and trying to get people in the Army.
It's not as easy to get into the military as it used to be. It seems like you've got to be on point. Your test scores have to be decent. You can't have tattoos below certain points on your body.
It's kind of just developed into this force. I still hear today some people will call in the office and be like, "Hey, I just got arrested. Can I join the Army instead of going to jail?" I'm like, "No, dude. This isn't Vietnam. It doesn't happen anymore."
That was it, right? Because my wife works at the VA, and that Vietnam era, it has some sketchy characters walking around because some of them were criminals that was their last option.
The draft and calling everyone up, need all hands on deck.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's sometimes going to be a byproduct, but we're an all volunteer force. We've been since, so it's been everybody volunteering to serve the country. Which anybody that does it, regardless of branch, I got respect for a young man that says, I'm willing to do this.
Now, were you overseas? Did you go over to one of the theaters? Or?
I initially joined in 2006.
Okay.
I had Erie here.
Yeah.
I joined the Army infantry. That's what I did my first 10 years, and I went to Iraq once and Afghanistan twice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So you were
during the surge, yeah.
Twice. So where were you in Afghanistan?
I was in Kandahar both times.
Okay.
The desert, the nice hot.
Yeah,
region.
right. My brother was there in the Coast Guard. He was doing. I was working for an admiral, and they were packing everything up. So his job was to make sure everything was packed the way it was supposed to and put away. And I think that's the way for the Coast Guard to get their combat pay.
I look at jobs like that, and I actually kind of feel bad because I got to do what I joined to do over there.
Yeah.
I wasn't there sitting around doing stuff I could have done here.
Yeah.
I was over there doing my job and doing, because the main motivating factor for me, despite, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. But I had a bunch of jobs around here. Like there was a quality markets I worked at back in the day.
Yeah.
Taco Bell and I never felt good about it.
Yeah.
I never felt fulfilled. I always hated it. I was switching jobs, and the Army gave me the opportunity to be something more than I was.
Yeah.
And that's how I looked at it, and it's doing good. So.
It's interesting because we had a kid at our gym who joined the Army, and his father was adamantly against him going into the infantry. His father was an infantry guy, and I had a talk with him, and I said, you're going to the Army. This is what these kids want to do. For a lot of them, that's why they're going into this. They want to go and be something above and beyond. They want to be heroic. They want to, there's something in us as humans and especially as men, a lot of times that pushes us towards these jobs. Don't stifle that. Let him do what he's going to do.
I think it was Denzel Washington has a quote talking about how the most selfish thing you could do is help others and give to others because it's a self-rewarding feeling.
Sure, right.
And it makes perfect sense because I've never, I just did a charity drive down in Tampa, the deadlift event for Gifts for Kids.
Yeah.
I felt great.
Yeah.
I felt great giving back, and when I read that quote, and I was like, you know what? If I didn't feel good, I don't know if I would do it.
Well, yeah, it sure made you feel like shit. You probably wouldn't do it. That's for sure.
But these kids, me and these other young men, and women, they're doing the same thing.
Yeah.
They feel like they want more. They want to do something for the country. They want to do something bigger than themselves.
Yeah.
That's what Army gives.
That's what's great about a volunteer force, right? I mean, no one's forcing these people to do this.
Not at all.
And I think what's nice about what's better about a volunteer force is you bypass a lot of the things that happened in like Vietnam when you had these guys that didn't want to be there, and you end up having something like the My Lai massacre or something.
Yeah, we can get none of that.
Yeah.
I mean, people maybe be disgruntled, but they're disgruntled at their own accord.
Yeah, right.
I chose this.
Yeah.
That's all I get is remind someone like, man, why am I doing this? You did it.
Yeah, and nothing's perfect, and
No. And we're all sucking together. I've
Yeah.
been in some bad situations. It was hot or it was cold. I was tired. I didn't have any food. Water was low, and I'm looked around and 20 other people in the same boat. And
Right.
I'm like, oh.
When you look back at those times, we had a couple guys on the show that were both Marines in Fallujah, and the one guy was a Marine Corps sniper. He's an animal. He's an absolute animal. Love him to death. The other guy was this real cerebral guy who was attached to this recon unit, and it was really weird to hear him say to me that was the best time of his life. He's got a beautiful wife. He's got a great kid. He's got a perfect job. That was the best time of his life.
I've felt that, and I've said that to a few people myself.
Yeah.
You look back, and it's kind of weird to say, but you have way less responsibility over there than you do here.
Sure.
When you're deployed, I was a squad leader, I was a team leader, and I was like a private, gunner, all that stuff.
Right.
And I had my job. That was it. You have this job to do: protect left and right, protect your battle buddies, protect people around you, and do the mission you're given.
Yeah.
You don't worry about anything else.
Yeah. Yeah.
And time goes by quick, and you have a little bit of fun, have
Adrenaline.
I mean, it's easy. I mean, when you do it, it's easy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
he, they were in some really shitty. Obviously, in Fallujah, it wasn't a playground. But my one friend, the other guy, Isaac, he had gotten wounded right at the start of the battle. And have you ever read? There was a great book by Sebastian Junger called War, and they were with a small unit in Afghanistan, and I can't remember the outpost, but it was as far out as you could get. It was the absolute tip of the spear, and they were sending guys out every once in a while to relieve these guys. But it was basically they just followed this army group through the battles out there, and then once they came home, and they were all like that, getting up and running and gunning every single day was what they wanted to do.
You get used to it and you enjoy it because once again the adrenaline. That's why I don't want to make the comparison, but that's why strength athletes. That's why I want a higher deadlift because I've hit that big deadlift.
Yeah, right.
And I can do more. I want to do that again. That felt good.
Yeah.
That's why people drink. That's why people speed. That's why.
Yeah, there's something in us, right?
Yeah.
That gets us. Speaking of that, how did you get involved in Strongman to begin with?
I had a not severe knee injury, but a pretty good knee injury after my second tour in Afghanistan, and I had to have surgery, and I was kind of out for the count. And I'd always kind of bro lifted.
Right.
Like
sure.
I think every early mid 20-year-old has done the Ronnie Coleman workout.
Yeah, right. Lightweight.
Yeah, lightweight baby. And then I was at a gym at Fort Carson. I was recovering. I was lifting weights a lot more to stay in shape because I couldn't run. Impact stuff was out the door.
Right.
And Mark Taysom, you know who Mark Taysom is?
I don't know.
He's like an old school strongman, like lightweight master. He's a friggin' wealth of knowledge.
Yeah.
Like when I first talked to him, like I felt like an idiot.
Right.
He's one of them guys.
Yeah.
He's so smart. And I was doing deadlifts, and it was like mid 500s, and I was feeling good. I was like, yeah. And he was like, oh, you think you're pretty strong, huh? And I'm like, yeah. He goes, come lift this stone. It was maybe a 270 or 280 stone. And I got it on my first try. And he was like, dude. I was like, what? He goes, you just pick like.
That's huge. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't. I was like, it's only 280 pounds.
And what did you weigh at the time?
I was a little heavy. I was on 250s.
That's still over your body weight's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
First time ever doing it.
And he was excited, which got me excited, and I loved the feeling of lifting that stone.
Yeah.
And I was hooked. I followed him around because he ran a program at the gym at Fort Carson.
Okay.
And it was a strength conditioning program, but obviously he brought Strongman into it.
Yeah.
To try and help the soldiers. And I kind of followed him around every day and learned and got excited and started watching all the old stuff. Yeah, because I grew up in the Magnus.
Yeah.
Era and the Dominator era.
Yeah.
So I'd catch it on ESPN, but I was never into it like that.
Yeah.
And then he got me into it, and I just obsessed.
We we had Magnus on the show last year, and I was asking him about that. I said, "Do you realize how many people in the strength world you affected? Because a lot of us grew up in that era, and it was the first. You say world's strongest man." And everyone says Magnus for Magnuson, even if they have no idea what strongman is. They just think Magnus for Magnuson because they all watch that ESPN stuff.
I hate to say this, I knew who Magnus was before I knew Bill Kazmaier.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's because I was at Grandma's house. She was watching me during the summer.
Absolutely.
And it's World's Strongest Man will come on ESPN. It's Magnus for Magnuson. Winning World's Strongest Man. It's like whoa.
He was way more famous, and he's way more famous with people who have no idea what strongman is. And he was amazed by it. I mean, he understands that that's the way it is, but he's just amazed that he's become almost a household name with people who have no idea what strongman's about.
He had so much reach. So much reach.
I saw I was creeping on your Instagram and saw an old picture of you. I think you just started. You were about 250 or 260, and you've actually leaned out a ton over the years doing this. And I think that's one of the things I try to stress to strongman competitors is, hey, we have weight classes in this sport. You don't need to be 300 pounds. A lot of these guys carry way too much fucking weight. They're way too fat. Their conditioning is shit. They can't lift an Atlas stone because, quote unquote, their arms are too short when really their bellies are too big. Yep. What do you think about what was it just something you wanted to do, or did it naturally happen through the training, or?
So when I first started, once again, I was under the old 1980s, 1990s football coach thing where if you lift weights, you can eat what you want.
Yeah, right.
I think everybody that grew up kind of heard that at one point, especially linemen. And that's what I took to. I was like, I need to eat to perform. So I was crushing everything and lifting. I was getting stronger, but I was also getting a little softer. Yeah. And as I researched more and met more people and just learned more about my body, about training, about nutrition, I found I could perform just as well eating better foods, and I felt better. And it just slowly started happening, and then I committed to doing a middleweight show. Okay. Lynn Morehouse and Jenna Petrie, they kind of taught, they were like, because I took third at under 265 nationals in 2016 on a torn meniscus, and had surgery right after. Right. And then they were like, dude, you could probably turn pro middleweight. And
What's the middleweight cutoff?
231.
231, okay.
So I was walking around about 265 then. That was like peak. Yeah. And I had the surgery, and I came back, and I had a target, and I changed my diet up for good, for real. Trained my ass off and made the weight, and then I won my pro card in my first middleweight show.
What's your walking around weight?
Nowadays it's between 240 245.
So a little bit of a cut to get down there.
Yeah, not much. Yeah. I've never had to sweat. I just manipulate water and sodium. Yeah.
That's what I walk around about 245, and I do masters competitions, but I've never said, all right, I'm going to get down in weight. I just come in, I end up going, I'm always the smallest heavyweight.
Well, I get what some guys do. You got guys like Johnny Wazico. He walks around 260, but he's loaded with muscle. He's just big. Right. He's bigger than me. Yeah. So he has to do a bigger cut. Sean DeMarinis, he's shorter, but he is bigger. I don't know if you've ever seen him. No. He's one of America's strongest man, I think, 3 or 4 times now in the middleweights, and he's the standard. Yeah. Right. But he walked around 255, 260, but, I mean, he's thick. Yeah. He's not fat. Right. So
yeah, I mean, you look at guys like Marius or Yukahola, and they were jacked and ripped, but they were probably, I don't know how big Marius was, but Yuka I don't think was over 270.
No, I think Marius maybe hit 300 a couple years. I think it just depends on the events. It's tough in the open level now to not be 300 and be competitive, just because of how statically focus a lot of the stuff is.
Well, you look at the guys, like the Arnold Classic or go to World's Strongest Man, and the Arnold especially is so heavy and so static what the most they move, I think, is with that yoke uphill and or
Right.
with the farmer's handles uphill. I mean, and they're not going very far at all.
Right. In which, I get because they have a limited amount of space, too. So
Yeah.
it makes sense. And they can't only have so much equipment they can get in and out. But, for that, you kind of got to have mass for that level.
Right.
Like, it's tough to, see some guys weighing 300 try and fight them.
Right. And the guys who are 400 pounds are 6'8".
Yeah.
I just wish that more guys in the sport would use it as would look at it as something you need to be fit for.
Right.
You're an athlete. You don't need to be this big. And I think if you get away from that, I'm a strong man, I can eat whatever I want nonsense, I think you'll perform better. You'll feel better. That you're going to live longer. And it's what's nice about when I go to a strongman competition, I see some of these lightweight guys who look like, jack CrossFit guys, but
Yep.
they're strong as hell, man. They're super impressive.
It can be done.
Yeah.
It can be done. Am I ever going to have a 1,000-pound deadlift? No. I'm never going to hit 1,000-pound weighing under
Yeah.
390, 300 pounds. It ain't
Yeah.
happening. But, I'm pretty happy with my 800 at under 240.
Well, you beat Sean Shoemaker at this last one, and Sean Shoemaker is a deadlifting machine.
So much better than me at deadlift.
That's what he was like, I can't believe I lost that, but Anthony pulled that weight. What was the final weight for that?
670 or 765.
765.
So I knew he was. I knew. So he's got me by 70 plus pounds on deadlift.
Yeah.
Easy. I just recently hit 815. It was like, then I watched one of his videos where he was.
Did it for a double
Yeah,
yesterday.
and I'm like, oh my gosh.
He's a good buddy of mine, and he's so funny.
That's my
man.
first time meeting him. I like him a lot.
Good dude.
Yeah.
He's so humble and so laid back, and he was. He has these stories where you have to drag him out of him because he won't talk. But he at one point, him and his wife were so minimalistic in what they were living in a literal shed. That they built this shed on I think it was on his father or his mother's property, and they were living in this like shed with like a balcony where they slept and everything. And, they had the baby, and it's like, we should probably get like a real
awesome.
place to live now.
That's awesome.
But just weird shit that he's done in his life that is so cool.
Yeah. And I tell you, I knew, once again, he had a bigger deadlift. Tyson Morrissey, I think, had a bigger deadlift than me, and I think maybe one other. I knew speed. I knew I could pull all the weights. Well,
Right.
that 765 was a little, it's tough at a medley.
Yeah.
But I knew if I was fast, that's where I could make my money.
Right.
So I practiced. The first two, I just went over under, just quick.
Right.
And I tell you what, I didn't set at all.
Yeah.
Don't deadlift the way I did on that medley ever. 'Cause
Right.
I just
You
grabbed
was
and
moving.
went. I didn't get set. And I had the figure eights, and I threw them on real quick. Was able to go, took them off real quick, just like I didn't even strap up.
Yeah.
And that's what allowed me to pull that off.
Yeah, that's but that's strongman, right? You're
Yep.
not always going to get a chance to set up. You're definitely not going to get a chance to warm up most of the time,
That's why I tell my warm-ups, I don't want to say they're non-existent, but I try and warm up like I would in a competition,
Yeah.
which is I quickly work up
Yeah.
to what I'm doing.
Right.
I'll do mobility. I do a lot of rehab stuff after,
Mm-hmm.
a lot. But when I'm warming up, I try to keep it as minimal as possible to simulate worst possible conditions.
Yeah.
And I think that's key. I think a lot of people, 90% of the people rely way too much on proper warm-ups.
Right.
And it's not a bad thing. I mean, you want to keep your body healthy. I get
Yeah.
it. But if you train your body to accept
Yeah.
less than ideal conditions, it will adapt.
And learn to maybe warm up without the use of the bar. You're
Bands.
doing calisthenics
Bands,
or whatever.
push-ups.
Yes.
I like to do the jump squat where I take a knee, stretch my quads a little bit, and you just jump to a squat a few times,
Yeah.
just to get the fast twitch going and get them hips warmed up.
Yeah, I was at Strongman Nationals for USS a couple years ago, and there were 360 of us, and I think there was 2 bars loaded up, one with 135, one with 225 for the deadlift. And the deadlift, I think ours was 600 for reps. It's like, okay, I'm going to get in line behind these other 300 people. I was like, fuck it. I'm just going to stretch out, get loose,
there's
get
ways
moving.
to fire what you need fired, without having the weight.
Yeah.
It might suck if you're not used to it, but that's why you get used to it.
That's strongman, right?
Yeah, that's strong, man.
Yeah, and you're not going to be able to work up to your heaviest Atlas stone. It's just going to be there. You got to go pick it up.
Yep.
That's what makes it cool too, though. That there's no real warm-up room, and you just got to be able to go. You talked to Magnus when we were talking to him. A lot of the shit they did they didn't even know what the events were going to be till they got there.
Yep.
Sometimes no one's ever lifted them before.
Yeah, that's what I love. Like
the old school stuff, right?
Yeah, I was excited. Like the sandbag toss we did.
Yeah.
I did train it 3 weeks prior once.
Yeah.
Basically. Other than that, I didn't know how I was going to do.
Right.
I knew I was explosive. I was powerful.
Yeah.
I had athleticism, but I knew
A lot of things can go wrong with that. Being a thrower myself, I was talking to Brooke Souza because Brooke had a horrible time with that event. And I said, why didn't you come talk to me before? I could have taught you how to do that. Real easy. It's the one thing I know how to do is throw shit. And she just didn't realize it. It's like, who knew that this was going to be a problem?
I was very lucky that I was able to kind of take to it quickly, I guess.
Yeah.
I took to it quickly.
Yep.
And I told a couple people after, I think it's my bowling background.
Could be. You learn how to move your body.
So, but my theory, I carried a 220 average when I was younger as a bowler.
Yeah.
And the key to being a good bowler is throwing the same ball every time.
Yeah.
You have to throw it the same way, release it the same way, set up the same way.
Yep.
And I think that translates over the bags.
It 100% will, because one of the things I do when I work with throwers is I tell them to do the exact same thing every time you go in the circle. So if you go in the circle and you walk to the front of the ring and see where you're going to throw it and then walk to the back and set up a certain way, everything has to be perfect every single time. So it's something you repeat every time, and you don't have to think about
Muscle memory.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yep. And
that's interesting.
There was a couple people that, as I was there, like, hey, make sure you conserve energy on the first 2 or 3. I was like, dude, no, I'm throwing them the same way. I'm throwing that 30-pound bag like I'm throwing the 50-pound bag.
Yep.
Ain't happening. I'm not going to try and mess around and then you miss one. Nope.
Yep.
I'm just launching.
Yeah, you can't do that. People get in your head and do shit like that.
No, they could try. I mean, I don't know if they ever met me. You can't really get in my head.
Well, yeah, going through boot camp probably helps with that too. It's probably pretty hard to get in your head.
Well, yeah, that's definitely a big part of shaping me who I am. But
Yeah.
it's just the whole. I don't know what it is, but it's tough to fuck with me.
Yeah.
Cussing here, sorry about
You're
that.
totally. This is an NC-17 rated show.
Yeah,
You can say whatever you want.
it's really tough to mess with me.
Yeah, that's cool. So you were just down there. What was it? Was it Strongman Games? What was it?
So it's the official Strongman Games.
Lynn Morehouse, right?
Yep, he is the promoter in the United States that runs it here.
Is it Giants Live?
It's run through the Giants Live company. So it's the people that run World's Strongest Man and Giants Live. They set up official Strongman Games for all the other weight classes to kind of try and standardize the World Championships.
As it should be.
Which it should be.
Yeah.
I appreciate all the other contests and federations. I appreciate all that. I think it's awesome. More opportunities, the better. But it's just tough when you start calling different things. How many World Championships can you have?
I agree 100%. Agree 100%. Seems like Lynn does a really good job with that from just the amount of people he got to go down there for it,
Yeah, his shows. So I've been doing his shows since 2015, and it's just they're second to none from my experience. It's just the people he has around him. Really, I mean, Lynn's a great mind and great organizer, but the people that are willing to help him out make his shows run so smooth.
That's huge for athletes.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like I've never seen it. Never seen it in any other show.
Yeah. When we started running shows, that was one thing that I really wanted to focus on was having enough volunteers and judges so that you didn't have to just run one event at a time. You could run several different stations, or you could run 2 events at the same time. And when we look at events, I think about setting PRs. How quickly do we get through this?
Right.
Because who wants to sit around for an 8-9 hour event? That sucks.
It gets tough. It definitely gets tough.
And you got that many people going through it. That's what you're going to end up with, unless you have enough volunteers and sometimes that means paying people or whatever.
When you think about like the Saturday, there was 3 events, had 200 plus athletes. We got through from like 10 to 4.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
It's amazing that he was able to accomplish that. I've been to shows where there was about 40 athletes and it took 9 hours.
So, because they're run through the same guys who run World's Strongest Man, is this going to act like a feeder system to get our guys over there? I mean, I don't even know how that happens.
So so right now, like example, the open class, top 3 got invited to Giants Live North America.
Okay.
So it's a feeder system definitely for the open heavyweight.
Right.
They're trying to get more participation there. And it's just it's on for the other weight classes. It's on us to get recognized, to make people want us.
Right.
That's what it really is. When I first came to the middleweights, I don't want to leave the middleweights because I think I can help other middleweights. I think I can help the class in general
Well, you're 6 feet tall too.
And I'm not
You're
built.
not 6'7".
Yeah, I have a limit when it comes
Right.
to open. I would like to make a run in the open eventually, just to kind of, because if I don't do it, I'll never really know.
Yeah.
But I really want to stick with the middleweights and help out, because I think the middleweights especially can be very marketable.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we look in between bodybuilders and strongman.
Yes.
A lot of us.
Yes.
Big, thick guys. Some of us are cut up real nice.
Yep.
We're all athletic. We're like Sean,
Yeah.
pulling 900 pounds, hook grip, no belt.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Right.
He needs to be showcased.
Yeah.
People need to know that.
Yep.
That's not normal strength. That's above average strength more than the heavyweights have.
Yeah. So it's above average strength, and you still look good, and you know you don't have all this extra fat on you. You're a good representative of the sport. You have that kind of jacked CrossFit look that I think people like to see, and that you don't get with the guys in CrossFit. It's interesting with CrossFit when you look at the athletes at the games. If you walk by, like an Annie Thorsdottir, who I've stood right next to, you think, man, this chick's fucking jacked. She looks good. You walk by a Ben Smith, no offense to Ben Smith, but you might think he was some guy from the local AMP.
I've had that happen to me myself. You know, some of the females, you're like, you're a high level athlete.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. Rich Froning came to the gym in Colorado.
Yeah.
And I had no idea who he was.
No. Yeah.
I thought he was just some dude.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't tell he was an athlete.
Right.
He was in clothes.
Yep.
I mean, he took his shirt off. I was like, oh, you're ripped
Yeah,
up.
you're
Like,
doing something.
Yeah,
Right.
but just in clothes, I'm just like, look at this little guy.
Yeah.
And there's no offense, but it's just how it's built. The sport's built, how they have to be built to maximize that sport.
Sure. Yeah.
Which is they're making $500K for winning, so they're doing something right.
And no one's asking us to walk on our hands or
Which I can do. That's
do
one point
muscle
out.
ups. You can walk
which
on your
I can do as well. Muscle ups ain't walking my hands.
That's you may be one of the heavier guys out there who could do. I saw Matt Vincent do a muscle up one time at like 260, which I thought was super impressive.
I just strung 10 together in a row.
Did you really?
Yeah, on a bar, and I could do like 5 on a ring.
Yeah. See, that's fantastic.
But I enjoy doing that stuff. One, because it's fun and it's athletic. For me, it's fun.
Yeah.
It's athletic. I can do it, so it's fun. And two, it makes people think twice. Like, oh, strongman. Wait,
right.
Brain's not computing. How can you do this?
Yep.
You know, I've done videos where I did like a 700 deadlift for reps into muscle ups.
That's awesome.
Find that shit somewhere else.
Yeah, right. Yeah, because as strong as those CrossFit athletes are, and I always talk about them doing like, I think one year Froning did like a 310 overhead squat, which
I can't do that.
at my strongest I couldn't have fucking done.
Well, that's
that,
my mobility.
you know?
Why I can't do that shit.
Well, yeah, you can't get that bar over your head, but there's something about being able to do both. You know, when I train athletes at our place, I talk about I want to be stronger than the CrossFit gyms and in better shape than the Strongman gyms.
There's something to be said about being good at both. I think there really is. It applies to more people.
Right, yeah. And it's always good to be able to bench press 400 pounds, but I think you should be able to run a mile too.
Yeah.
Run a mile,
right.
Not, barely get through a mile.
Yogging with a soft J.
Yeah, you should never have to stop when you're running a mile, or start walking. So that kind of brings us to our next thing that I saw you were doing. What is this thing you're doing with The Rock?
So it was Nbc Titan Games.
Okay.
It was.
I don't have TV, so you got to explain this shit to me.
So it was a show. Well, it is a show. It's already been filmed. But from what I saw it on Facebook, like first, like back last year, like the ads for it, like, hey, we're looking for athletes.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, American Ninja Warrior, Gladiator. Right. And then they contacted me through social media to get me to apply. They wanted me to try it out, and I was like, all right. And so I applied, did the Skype interview, and they selected me to go to a combine, which we did a 2-minute continuous monkey bar up and down. I tell you what, I was the only one that hands didn't rip because I'm smart.
Right.
It was the first event of the day.
Yeah.
And I was going, and I felt, I was like, nope, sorry, you can judge me all you want.
Yeah.
Everyone else had their hands all banged because we had a deadlift later in the day. I was like, that's where I'm going to shine. I'm not going to ruin that. So we did a combine that had some 4-yard dash, broad jump, vertical, a little obstacle course, deadlift, stuff like that. And then we went home and waited on word if we made the show. And so he selected, The Rock himself selected 64 out of I think the final stats were 100,000 people applied.
No shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Wow.
Me being me, that I wasn't happy. I wasn't happy with that because I was like, oh, I still got to win this thing.
Yeah.
But when you look at it in the grand scheme, it's a pretty
Yeah.
big honor to be picked by The Rock out of 100,000 people. So
Very cool. So it hasn't come out yet.
nope,
though.
January 3rd.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
So that'd be something to watch for.
It's amazing. It was amazing.
Yeah.
It was unlike anything I've ever seen.
And it's an individual competition.
Yep. There was a male and female winner.
Uh-huh.
There was some strength challenges, some agility challenges, obstacle course challenges, all types of stuff thrown at you.
Well, and I've seen you've done stuff before. I saw you do didn't you do like a strongman competition and then do like a Tough Mudder the same day?
It was like the next week.
Yeah. But again, that goes back to being able to do everything.
Yeah.
I think that's so cool and I think that's something that more strength athletes should do.
And I didn't fly through that Tough Mudder.
Oh yeah.
But I got my heart rate up and down, kept going, had fun. If you have fun doing it, do it. I mean, if you honestly miserably hate it, then don't force yourself to do it. And
Yeah, I'm sorry, you've done Olympic weightlifting.
I had a good time doing that. I was terrible form,
Yeah.
but I had fun.
Yeah.
And I had fun because I trained it for about 3 weeks prior, just trying to work on stuff, as best I could. And I had fun training it. I'm not gonna lie. Like once I learned how to snatch I couldn't do a full snatch. I had to do a power
snatch. Yeah.
But I had fun training that, learning it. It felt good when I actually hit everything and it flew, and I was like, whoa, that felt good. So.
Well, it's hitting that tuning fork. Everything is perfectly. You get that ring, like, oh shit, that was easy once I did it right. I think that's another thing that there's so many different options out there for strength athletes. You've got strongman, you've got powerlifting, you've got Olympic lifting, you've got Highland Games, you've got Chad Clark doing that mass wrestling and shit like that. And try it all, have fun.
Highland
with it.
Games is like the last frontier for me. I got to find one to do.
Man, give me a holler. We could do that.
I would love to do one of those. Yeah, I did the powerlifting last year, total elite in that.
Yeah.
Now I want a 2K. I want 2,000 in that one now. Now that I've tasted
that's,
close.
That's something that now with raw powerlifting, 2,000 pounds is a fucking big ass total, man.
I looked at what I would have to do for it, and I was like, oh, and when you first think, I think I totaled 1860, something like that, and I missed all three of my third attempts because it was my first powerlifting.
Yeah.
And I was just like, YOLO kind of thing.
Give it a shot.
Yeah. But I looked at what I would have to hit, and I'm like, oh wow, that's kind of. I might have to focus on that for a little bit. I can't just walk in and do a 2,000 total.
2,000 pound total is really big. And these guys that are in the gear that are doing, 3,000 is, I mean, it's a whole different sport. But my preference is the raw guys who.
I think there's always going to be something to be said.
Yeah.
And it's just how it is. It's nothing against it. I have friends that are geared powerlifters, and their training is. I wouldn't want to do that.
It's a different sport altogether.
100% fantastic. Yeah. They're strong people.
Absolutely.
But once again, when you're talking about applicability and what people want to see and what people enjoy, they're gonna like the raw powerlifting better. And it's just how it is.
It's a completely different sport, and both groups are incredibly strong. And I've said this before on the podcast, my biggest turnoff, because I came up in that era where it was always geared powerlifting, my biggest turnoff was how the people looked when they were eating into their gear. Some of them, you'd see them on the street and go, who's this big fat guy? I don't want to look like him.
Exactly.
And now the raw guys have this suit of armor on them, where even the heavyweights have six-pack abs sometimes and are jacked to the tits. They look like the guys did back in the 70s when, Doug Furnace and Ed Cohen and those guys were lifting. And they just look a lot better. And I think that's why we all get in the gym in the first place, right?
I think that's why, no matter what anyone says, that's why everybody starts working out.
Yep.
As you transition and grow as an athlete person, they may not be your focus. But when you first start, it's because you want to look better or feel better.
Yeah.
That's it.
Most of the guys my age wanted to look like Arnold. I wanted to look like the Road Warriors, from pro wrestling.
Yeah, I want to look like Triple H.
Yeah, right? That's why you get into it. Then you figure out you're good at it, and maybe you move on. But I still want to look good. That's why I'm in there training nowadays.
That's what I've come around to as well. It was fun eating what I want lifted, but I didn't feel as good.
No.
I really didn't. I say it all the time. People talk, oh, look at Mr. Hollywood with your hair. Stuff like, hey, man, look good, feel good.
Hey, if I had hair, I'd be doing it up. People make fun of these guys with man buns. I'd love to have a man bun.
It was funny. At the weigh-ins for Worlds, everyone, normal stuff, they're in their sweats, all sad looking.
Yeah.
I wore my nice dress shoes, my nice jeans, and I had a button-down shirt and some aviators on. I mean, I'm not gonna if I'm dehydrated, I have a headache, and I'm feeling shitty. I'm not gonna sit there and stew in it.
Right.
I'm gonna look good. I'm gonna pretend I feel good. I don't care.
Sure.
Have at it.
Well, that's a little psychological edge too. Everyone's in there just dying, and you come walking in like it's a party.
I don't know. It's just something. I enjoy dressing nice too. So it's all starting to kind of meld together. That's where the Flama Blanca character came from.
Right.
He's who I can't be in my normal life.
Explain this to people, because I had to look this up on your Instagram page too.
Yeah. So Flama Blanca, it's the white flame. Follow me, follow the flame. I'll light the way. That kind of thing was developed. I've always been a little bit extra. When my growing up in high school, my friends growing up, I was the one in class, always attention-seeking behavior. I mean, that's what it was growing up. Then I joined the Army, and that shit got put under dirt, and it was like, nope, you don't get no attention. You're a soldier. And so it was fine. I was a soldier, did my thing, and then I became a recruiter, and I was able to let my personality out more and start doing Strongman. And I had the opportunity to let out even more, and it kind of kept growing, and then it developed into an alter ego.
Right.
And the way I say it is, Flama Blanca does and says things that Anthony Furhman can't do and say. So that's where he came from. And
I think that's and when people look at that, sometimes it's going to turn people off. Sometimes people are going to love it. But something I learned in Highland Games, and I think it's important for strongman guys in this country to figure it out too, is you want money. You want attention. You want people to come to see the sport and to grow the sport. You have to be entertainers.
You have to entertain people.
You are giving them a show. Otherwise, the only people that are going to come see you is your mom and dad and your wife.
Yes, exactly. Yes, I benefit, but like I said, I'm trying to help the middle. I want everyone to get some of this benefit because I'm entertaining, so they're going to come watch the class too. Yep. It's not just me. They're going to see Sean freaking hook gripping. All those
He's
deadlifts.
Such a fucking asshole. We should stop being nice to him.
I know, right? It's hard though. I met him. I want to be mean to him.
Right.
Because I saw his videos. I never met him. And I met him there, and I was like, hey, what's up, man? You're freaking cool. And I like to think a lot of people are like that with me too. They might see my online persona.
Yeah.
And then they meet me, and they're like, all right, I get a little bit.
Well, your online persona is what it is. You're trying to get those followers. You're trying to get people interested in you. And that's good for your sponsors. It's good for the sport. It's
good for everyone, And I'm okay with people not liking it. You don't have to like it, but you're gonna see it.
Yeah,
you're gonna see it.
And whether you like it or not, you're probably gonna follow because you want to see what this dickhead do this time.
Yeah, it's the old Ric Flair.
Yeah.
Whether you love it or hate it, you're gonna learn to accept it.
Yeah. What is it about that? I look at Conor McGregor, and I love the dude. And
I love Conor McGregor, by the way.
I do, and I can't
one of my
figure out why,
favorite
because
people.
that's such anti what I like about athletics. My son, I tell him, I took a quote from Jocko, he has to have normal face. So he scores a touchdown, normal face. Can't show any emotion. You throw a big throw in the shot put, normal face. And if he doesn't, I hit him over the head with a pillow at home until he shows me normal face. Just fucking around with him. But I love Conor McGregor and his fucking antics, and I don't.
Because you're entertained by it.
I am super entertained by it.
I have this. What really, the whole Nate Diaz thing sold me on him.
Yeah.
The whole build up and all that. When he lost, how he accepted defeat sold me on Conor McGregor as a person. How he handles defeat sells me on him more. Because he will talk a game. He generally backs it up, and if he doesn't, he's like, I didn't back it up, but I'm still better. Yeah. And I love that. Maybe it's because I think I grew up heavily influenced by wrestling.
Sure.
The Ric Flairs and the Macho Mans, and I always take that approach. You can beat me. That's fine. I'll never admit it.
Yeah.
I'll never admit it. I'll never,
He has made losing in a sport where losses can mean the end of you as an athlete into, no big deal.
He turns it into a bigger payday.
Yes.
He lost to Nate. He got paid more to fight him again.
Yeah. Yep.
And that is a combination of skill, charisma, and just there's something else. And I can't really put it down, but it makes people want to watch, and it gets him paid. It brought people to the sport.
Yep.
And that's what we need in Strongman.
I'll never forget, he was in that one press conference, and he's talking all kinds of shit, and some guy behind him, made a comment about him, and he just turned around and he goes, "Who the fuck is that guy?"
Right there.
It was perfect, Perfect. I laughed so hard. I kept watching him say that. Who the fuck is that guy? It's got to just bring you down. You're trying to talk shit to the champ. He doesn't even know who you are.
Yeah. It's perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why people watch.
Yeah, you got to be an entertainer,
You have to.
100%. What's up for you now? What are you training for?
Right now, I am about 90% sold on doing the Arnold amateur heavyweights.
Okay.
I made the main stage last year, which was my goal.
Yeah.
As a middleweight, I weighed in at 242 that weekend, and I placed top 10 heavyweight amateur in the world. I was pretty happy.
Hell yeah.
And I want to do it again this year. Except I'd like to push for top American.
Yeah.
Because who doesn't want to win?
It's the Arnold, right?
It's the Arnold. I want to go compete there with the best.
Arguably the biggest show.
I always want to be around the best.
Yeah.
I'm never looking for shows that aren't filled with the best. That's what I want.
Yeah, that's an attitude that people need to cultivate. Don't show up at a show and worry about who else is going to be there. And if some of these guys who, quote unquote, qualify for nationals and never beat anybody, they just show up, they do a show. I did that one time, and I didn't know. It was here in Erie. I showed up, there was nobody else there. I was like, what the fuck, And it wasn't the promoter's fault. He tried to get I was like, oh, I qualified. It was a Strongman core event. I qualified for nationals. I didn't beat anybody. How is this possible?
It sucks that still happened and everything. It sucks, but but that's where you as a person, you need to be like, all right, well, I got this fucking free pass. Let me see who I got to compete against, and I'm chasing them. I've always been chasing people better than me. I've never.
Yeah.
I
remember looking at it was coming up in a month, nationals in Vegas, and I looked at the weights, and I'm like, I can't fucking lift any of those weights. I'm not going to this thing.
Right, I mean, yeah, and that's what more people need to do. I'm not a fan of people going to nationals and then zeroing everything.
Yeah, right.
Save your money, save your possible health, and get better.
Go hire a coach.
Go hire a coach, which I think for most people that's the best thing you could do.
Yeah.
I'm lucky in that I was stubborn and it worked. I've never really had a coach. I've kind of figured this out on my own.
Yeah.
And through, just talking to people and just kind of taking everything in. But I am the exception, not the rule.
Right.
A lot of people they don't have the drive I have.
Yeah.
That's what it boils down to.
Yeah.
I can put things together for myself, force myself to do things I don't want to do to get better. And I can do that to myself. That's something I have that a lot of people don't. That's why coaches exist, to identify weakness and make you better, turn it into a strength.
Yeah. I've had that before with our online programming. Is guys will get a hold of me and want me to do their online program. I'm like, why? You know what the fuck you're doing. They just want to turn their brain off and have someone tell them they have to do the shit they don't want to do.
Yeah.
Easy enough. I can do that.
Yep, and that's fine because you see there are people that are successful that do that. Mm-hmm. That's maybe the only piece that was missing is the ability to do what they don't want to do. They're not going to program it in on their own. Exactly. I remember I was terrible at the yoke. I was miserable, absolutely miserable. I think my first nationals, it was the heavyweight. I took third, and I came in 22nd on the yoke.
Yeah.
It was 825, and it took me 50 seconds to do for 50 feet.
Yeah.
Year later, I'm doing 900 under 10 seconds because I worked that weakness.
Yeah.
I was like, nope, that's never going to happen again. I'll be damned. No matter how much I hated the yoke, I turned into a strength. And now I want to toot my own horn, but I'm one of the better middleweight yokers in the world.
Well, that's what it's about, right? Take that weakness and work the shit out of it instead of avoiding it. Don't go to a contest because you have a event in there you don't like. You gotta get in there and do it.
You gotta be humbled sometimes to get better. And that's what it is. That yoke humbled me. Recently in June, I did the Conan's Wheel for the first time. Humbled me.
That thing sucks.
Oh my goodness, I was not anticipating, and it wasn't strength. It literally sapped every breath out of me, and my breathing was terrible for it. I didn't know how to breathe and pace for it.
Yep.
And it ruined me. It destroyed me.
That killed me at Nationals a couple years ago. I'd never really played with it. I picked this thing up. I was like, I can't fucking breathe.
Yep. So next time I see one of them in a contest, I'm gonna hammer the shit out of it because I'll be damned if I'm gonna get embarrassed by that again.
Where do you train down in Tampa?
So I train at CrossFit BNI.
Okay.
It's Mike Caldwell's the owner, and he was very accepting of me. I kind of was like, hey, I can start a little strongman program here if you let me train out of this. And through the years, I've accumulated all my own strongman equipment.
Right.
Everything I need, and it's let me store it there, and I've been training out of there.
That's cool.
Basic CrossFit gym. I ain't no machines.
That's a good thing about CrossFit is that I think it's been such a boom for Olympic lifting, powerlifting, strongman, Highland Games. It's gotten all these people who never even considered doing these sports. They come in, they do a year's worth of CrossFit, and then they realize, I kind of just like doing the lifting part of this. I don't really want to do the conditioning, and
Yep.
boom, all of a sudden they're in powerlifting or
100% what
strongman.
I found. I think my first year down there, I had mostly females sign up for the class, and that's just the culture of CrossFit. It seems like the females are more willing to
They have
pursue
less
strength.
of an ego.
Less of an ego. That's what
They don't want to come in there. They don't care if they come in and look weak. They're just expected to be weak,
Yep.
you know?
they came in, and I think 5 of them qualified for nationals within that first year because
awesome.
they found out, oh wait, I'm good at being strong, and I've been trying to, metcon my way through life, but I'm good at being strong, and they all lost weight. Lost 20, 30 pounds doing strength training and cutting back on all the metcons, and because
That's crazy, because some of these women come in, and women have this, and we all have this weird body image, but some of these women come in and they want to look like these fashion models. What, you've got wrists bigger than I do. You're built to lift shit.
Yeah.
So I never say that to them because I know I've seen this route before. So I just shut up and let them train. And all of a sudden, I kind of like being strong. And they're getting in a lot better shape, but they don't want to look like fashion models anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Because when you find something you're good at, you enjoy doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, no one likes doing what they're bad at.
Little confidence, little,
And it
feeling
transfers
better.
to all over your life, your whole life. You get more confident in other things.
Yeah.
I was always a shit talker, but I wasn't as vocal a shit talker when I was bad at what I did.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, right. Yeah. It's hard to do that when you suck, right?
So, it just translates all over.
Yeah.
It's been a blessing for my whole life. It's just helped me with so many things.
What does your training look like week to week? I mean, is it pretty? Do you follow a specific plan? Are you more instinctual?
So me personally, and I don't say I recommend this, I don't write anything down ever. I don't plan anything out. I know that I'm going to either press twice a week or deadlift twice a week.
Yeah.
I don't know which one until the week happens and my body tells me.
Mm-hmm.
I do squats every week, so form of squats, because I don't care what you say about strongman. Being a good squatter will help.
Yep.
There's front squat, back squat, and you need to have the endurance in the legs too.
Yeah.
I like to throw in like a back bodybuilding day where I do Meadows rows and barbell rows and pull downs and all that stuff to build a thick back. I do a strongman day where it's not even necessarily training events, it's just getting hands on the stuff. I'm not necessarily running an event style or doing a million runs, but I'm like, all right, well, it's been a while since I've done a yoke, so I'll do a few runs of a yoke, then I'll move on to something else.
Yeah.
But generally, I like to stick with two main kind of moves. On press day, there'll be two main press movements, an overhead press and then an overhead press variation, and then a bunch of accessory work, high rep, get the blood flowing, get
the power bodybuilding way of doing it.
Yep. I do a lot of unilateral work on legs and arms.
Okay.
Like dumbbell press, single arm dumbbell press, single leg deadlifts, stuff like that, because one's always going to be weaker than the other. So, you got to bring them up and try and make them equal. Not necessarily for, physique, but even just strength and stability.
Sure.
You don't want to have a less stable left leg than right leg when you're trying to yoke.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Maybe you don't want to recommend that for people, but I train similarly myself, and once I think you learn your body and learn what you can handle and what makes you better, it's super easy to just come in and make sure you're hitting things.
It is. I've told people how I do it, and they kind of look at me crazy, and I'm like, it works. It's beautiful. And when I program and coach people, I don't do RPE percentages. I do rep ranges because I want them to learn their body and what that rep range is for them. Yeah. I honestly want them. I don't want them to pay me forever. I want them to be able to learn.
And that's the sign of being a good coach, is you are trying to teach these people how to train, not be their guru for the rest of their lives.
Exactly. I want them to learn how to train because eventually they're going to go on to do bigger and better things. And I'll come back to, I learned this from, Flama Blanca.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what I hope, at least. And I want them to learn their body. Because even if they do want to keep paying me and coaching me, the more they know their body, the better they're going to perform.
Right.
Anyways,
absolutely.
It's a win for everyone. Learn your body.
Are you, you said that you'd gotten your diet in check. What are you doing? How do you eat? Do you have a specific route for that?
I do a lot of carb timing.
Mm-hmm.
So what I generally try to do is I try to time at least 50% of my carbs for the day immediately before and after workout.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm doing heavy training sessions, I'm taking in almost 300-400 carbs a day. I'm pushing 5,000 calories and it's just that's a lot of eating.
Yeah.
People don't understand. Like The Rock eats 10,000 calories a day. I was like,
I love watching him fucking eat that whole big things of sushi.
I don't understand. I can't do it. And
Yeah.
it's the way I prep my food is the most economical way to stuff it in my face.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't care. Like I love that ground beef rice thing. I know
Yeah.
it recently took off
Like
with
the
the
Stan-Ephedrine.
yeah, it took
vertical
off with
diet.
that, but I've been doing that taco seasoning
Yeah.
and beef and rice, and I just
Super easy to
scoop it
digest.
in. Yep, scoop it in. I don't like fish,
Mm-hmm.
so that takes an option. So and chicken gets boring quick.
Yeah.
So I like to stick with the beef personally.
Yeah, I think with the diets, the most important thing is just finding something that's going to work for you. I'm completely carb free for the most part, and that's how I run. I run good on fat.
I did that for the longest time.
But I think my wife said it best: is you can run on carbs or you can run on fat, but you can't do both. You got to pick which one works best for you and go with it.
Yep. Yeah, 100%. Because everyone's body is different.
Yep.
It reacts to things differently. Like for me, like the big change that I did that really leaned me up was the carb timing. I found if I timed my carbs, I got just as good, if not better, results than when I was carbless.
Doing any like steady state aerobic training at all, like
Yeah.
running on the treadmill or anything like
I
that?
I will up until about 4 weeks out from a contest.
Okay.
I generally like to do 2 a days.
Yeah.
And that especially if I have time, I'll come back in. It might not be steady state all the time, but it's going to be some sort of cardio based 21, 15, 9 type
Yeah,
thing.
right, like a CrossFit type deal.
Sled pushes,
Yep.
jump rope. I know.
No, I'm
got
100%
jump roping, right?
behind you. We had a kid in the gym the other day. He was bitching because I had him doing had the whole class jumping rope. And young kid, probably 22, 23. This is for girls. I said, you ever watch Mike Tyson? See that motherfucker jumping rope?
Yeah.
Tell that motherfucker it's for girls.
Muhammad Ali jump rope and then
Yeah.
knocking out everyone.
I do it all the time.
Yeah,
I think it's the best thing for athletes, especially.
It is. It's a good workout. You can hit that jump rope. And I know not everyone can do 2 a days. I also want everyone to know I train from 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. work, and then after work I'll go for my
It's a
second.
long training session.
Well, yeah, that's my. When I say that, usually I get to the gym at like 5, and then like by 5:30 I'm ready to go.
Yeah, right, okay.
Like I'm kind of.
And then you said you're doing a bunch of mobility afterwards and stuff.
Yep, I
too.
like to do a little bit of mobility afterwards, just to take care of my body.
Mhm.
And then the second session, sometimes at work I can't get out to do it, but if I get out, 5, 6, 7 o'clock, I'll still go do a half hour, 45 minutes cardio and go home and take care of business.
How old are you?
30.
Yeah, see, that's great. I try to do two a day too, and mine is more bodybuilding stuff towards the end of the day, like kind of the conjugate system, doing those extra workouts, 15, 20 minutes at the end of the day, just getting stuff in. But
Right.
Yeah, you can do that stuff. You got plenty of time to recover during the day, and you're 30, which isn't old, but you can do that stuff as long as you can handle, as long as your body's telling you you're good to go.
Exactly. And there's some days where I'm like, I ain't going in twice today. I feel it, but I know that feeling.
You're smart enough to say, fuck it, I'm not doing it today.
Yeah, like even I know even 20 minutes of cardio is not going to be beneficial today.
Right.
The way I'm feeling, so I don't.
Yeah, good to listen to your body and let it tell you what you should do and what you shouldn't do.
Also, I'd like to go back on the diet. I have different days so I have a high carb day, a medium carb day, a low carb day, depending on what I'm doing for that workout.
Yeah.
So the days, deadlift days and squat days get high carbs.
Well, if you're working off carbs, if you're using carbs for energy, that's smart.
Yep. The press days usually get the medium, depending. Sometimes I'll go high, depending on what I'm doing. But like the bodybuilding type work is always a low carb day because it's easy. You're not using weight that's challenging. You're just using,
I do the same thing with fats. So. I'm not training today. I haven't even eaten yet. It's just I'm not going to be burning anything.
Yeah.
But I know if I'm doing a heavy Atlas stone the next day, I'll load up, man.
Yep.
I'll be full by the end of the day.
Yep. That's just got to be smart about what and when you're putting in your body.
Yeah.
That's the timing. I think is the biggest key.
Yeah.
A lot of people know this. And
Are you still working with Eric up here?
Yeah. So Eric Lewis.
Yeah.
Baby Bear, Strongman,
Baby Bear.
Yeah. He is one of the first people that trusted me.
Right.
And believe,
that's what made me think of it. Was I remember you were working with Eric. I didn't know what you were doing.
And I
with
just got into the sport. And
yeah.
He accepted everything I was telling him like it was doctrine. I'll tell you what, I didn't know what the hell I was doing at that point.
Right.
But
you got to start somewhere.
But he saw something in me. So that dude has, I'm with him forever.
Good.
I love that kid, and he's always been there for me. So
Yeah, he's a local boy here, right?
yeah.
Man, that's good that you're in Tampa because we are in Tampa all the time. So I'm going to give you a holler next time we're down
Well,
there.
I'm moving.
What's that?
I'm moving.
Where are you moving to?
Fort Knox, Kentucky.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm up end of my assignment, and that's where I'll be doing the U.S. Army fitness team.
Tell me, we were talking a little bit about that before the show started, but what are you doing with that?
So
now?
this is a new program that was set up. What they're doing is they're pulling in elite athletes that are already in the Army, putting them on a team to go compete on the Army's behalf to get the name. It's part of the recruiting effort.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, look, we're soldiers, but we're also people.
Yeah.
We're also athletes. We do this and that. Originally, it was more based to be like a CrossFit type team, but finally, you know, it's kind of hard to ignore me winning World's Strongest Man and being on the Titan Games.
Yeah.
So they're like, wait a minute, maybe he has an elite athleticism.
Right. Even though we don't recognize it,
Yeah.
we'll figure he's
But
doing something right.
They're pulling me in, and I'm going to help them set up the team. I'm going to try and help them get equipment, and I want to be very successful because I love the Army.
Yeah.
And I love fitness, and I love what I do. And it's like, it's just, I don't know how many people in the Army have had what they love in their personal life and what they love about the Army meet at the same point,
Sure.
like what's happening with me. So I feel very blessed. I don't know other way to put it because.
Well, you know, a lot of those old like Soviet era guys were all like lieutenants in the Army. They didn't do shit except for train, you know, but it was a good image for their military. Look at he's a lieutenant in the Army here in Bulgaria, and he's a world record holder or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, you know, with Army run with, you know, look, World's Strongest Man's a frickin' active duty Army soldier. I mean, that's a big deal.
Yes.
You know, it's not, you know, something to sneeze at. Or
Yeah.
if we can get a good enough CrossFit team where, look, we have U.S. Army has a team in the CrossFit Games.
Right.
Look at the elite level of athleticism we have in the Army.
Well, it seems to me that the Army especially, but the armed services in general, are coming around slowly to what is going to make their soldiers better, what is a better test of their recruits coming in. It seems like they're getting more, you know, Matt Wenning, I know, is doing a lot of work with the military.
Yes. He came out and worked with Mark and us in Colorado.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I met him out there.
And it's going to make the soldiers healthier. It's going to make them better soldiers. It's going to make them better at their jobs.
Save the government money because they won't be taking care of soldiers that are injured and hurt because they're healthy.
Yeah.
It's a win for everyone.
Yeah, I've dealt with a couple guys who were, whether they were paratroopers or I don't know what they were doing, but they were definitely jumping out of airplanes. And a couple guys have had injuries, but you're taking a kid out of boot camp and having them, they've never squatted or deadlifted in their life, and here they're having to slam into the ground with their legs, and they're not ready for that.
Not ready for it, you know. And it's something the military's learned, you know, throughout the years, and because society's changed, cultures change, you know. When they first started doing paratroop operations, the average soldier was 5'7", 145 pounds.
Right.
You know, it ain't like that.
Just got off the farm.
It ain't like that. Yeah, just got off the farm.
Yeah.
They had, whether they knew it or not, they had physical fitness.
Yep.
It's not like that no more. So you have to indoctrinate that physical fitness into them, which we're kind of shifting around to that as a society. It feels like you're seeing it everywhere. You know, fitness is becoming a more marketable. Is that why they're doing it? But it's
again, it goes back to CrossFit and putting it out there for people to see.
I agree. Yeah.
People talk about my son's been lifting weights in some fashion, but you know, as soon as he was able to walk, he started lifting medicine balls and stuff. But people don't want their kids in fitness programs until they're like in their teens. I'm saying
that's that old school mentality. Yeah.
But these kids were on the farm. None of them stunted their growth.
Yeah.
You know.
Right. Like the Y. You're not allowed to use the weight room until you're 13.
16
back when I was growing up.
Yeah.
Yeah. But them kids that go out there and help grandpa load them that hay all day. It's not a big
right.
deal.
None of them are stunting their growth.
Nope.
They're all strong as hell by the time they get into high school.
Everyone's starting to be more aware.
Yeah.
The awareness is raised, so that's fantastic for us.
And fantastic for Strongman, right?
Yes, sir.
Well, man, this has been great. Let's promote some things here. What do you got going on? Give me sponsors. Give me places to find you on Instagram.
Okay, so we got. All right, I'll start with me, then go to the sponsors. So my Instagram is Anthony Furhman Strong.
Easy enough.
Easy enough. I have a Facebook, Anthony Flama Blanca Furhman. I'm on Twitter, I think, too, now, courtesy of NBC.
Oh yeah.
Well, they want us,
Right.
be maximum
Yeah.
engagement. Flama Blanca Tony, I think, is on Twitter. And so sponsors, Chaos and Pain Supplements, they've been very good to me. They've believed in me once again when I was a big old fat 265-pound
Right.
newbie. So they're fantastic. My favorite thing is their pre-workout. I don't take it pre-workout all the time because I don't need it because I'm very energetic.
Mm-hmm.
But when I need it, that shit is
Yeah.
money.
Yeah.
Let's see, SBD, huge sponsor of mine. I've used the others, the Cerberus, and SBD has just been the best in my opinion. Especially their friggin' wrist wraps and knee wraps are just fantastic. Like this knee is a habitual line stepper, and I don't know what I would do without an SBD knee sleeve. I'll tell you what, this thing. And then Iron Empire Clothing, I'm working with their local clothing line.
Local where?
Here to Erie.
In Erie. No
Yeah.
shit.
And it's I've been talking with the owner, and we're working together now. And he's gonna do a Flama Blanca line.
Awesome.
And it's just the message they have this message, of trust in yourself. It takes struggle to create strength.
Yeah.
And I love that message. Absolutely love it. It resonates with me, and I want to help spread that message.
Awesome.
And then there's a couple of things in the works I got going on, but nothing official right now. So
And look for the Titan Games January
3rd on
January 3rd.
NBC.
Check it out. All right.
Yes.
This has been great. We'll have to do it again sometime.
Hell yeah.
Anthony Furhman.
Thank you very much, Mark.
It's been the Refined Savage. See ya.